Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed with our next panel discussion, which is highlighting the data-driven decisions, turning insights into actions, for which I would like to invite on stage our esteemed panel members. Please help me invite with a round of applause, Ms. Yashi Srivastava, Senior Solution Architect, TCS. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Yashi Srivastava is an AWS Cloud Solution Architect with over 14 years of experience in the IT industry, specializing in cloud strategy, architect design, and automation. Now please help me invite with a round of applause, Ms. Sonia Thakurani, Senior Vice President, Data and AI Practice, NeuIQ.
So can we have a big round of applause for Sonia joining on the stage?
NeuIQ. Ms. Sonia Thakurani is the practice head at NeuIQ, leading high-performing teams in data engineering and AI agent development. With over 21 years of experience, she delivers intelligent, scalable solutions that unify data, enhance decision-making, and power next-generation AI automation. Now, please help me invite with a round of applause Mr. Vivek Bhatia, Principal Solutions Architect, Oracle. Let's give them a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Vivek Bhatia is a strategic leader in digital transformation known for driving innovation that highlights Microsoft's unique value proposition. Well, now please help me invite with a round of applause Mr. Ashutosh, CIO Advisory, TCS. Let's give them a huge round of applause.
So can we have a big round of applause for Ashutosh joining on the stage?
Mr. Ashutosh is a seasoned transformation and change professional with over 25 years of experience in digital transformation, expertise, enterprise agility, and leadership coaching. Currently serving as Engagement Director, CIO Advisory at Tata Consultancy Services, he worked closely with C-suite executives and to drive large-scale agile, DevOps, and lean transformations across industries. Now I would like to invite our moderator for the session. Let's invite with a huge round of applause, Faith Tang. Let's give them a huge round of applause.
So can we have a big round of applause for Faith Tang.
A huge one, ladies and gentlemen.
Head of APAC Marketing, Watson-Marlow Fluid Technology Solutions.
A seasoned global marketer, Faith leads the APAC marketing for Watson-Marlow Fluid Technology Solutions, a world leader in manufacturing peristaltic pumps and associated fluid path technologies for the life sciences and process industries. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for the entire panel and our moderator? Thank you so much, and I request you to please
over
lead
to you,
the
Faith.
session for us.
This is the virtual participant. Yeah. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I realize that our session is standing between us and the coffee break. Okay, we have the most inclusive panel, as you can see, right? Two men, two ladies. Yeah. Okay, to start the session, I'd like to share a short anecdote. Can I ask anyone among us, do you order food online? How many of you? You order food online? Almost all, right? Okay, cool. And did you know July, just last month, something crazy happened in China? Anyone knows about that? Something really crazy just happened in China, July. Anyone know about it? Meituan, the largest online food delivery, and Alibaba and Jingdong last month engaged in a price war. July, yeah? Everybody throw in money to give consumers 0 yuan milk tea, 0 lunch, 0. So to just break into the record of online food delivery market, and you know what happened? July 11th, one day, the whole of China, Alibaba alone, 80 million, one day, 80 million order. And the whole exercise ended in August, receiving a warning letter from China's state government because it's affecting the real-time business. Now the question is, why is people like Alibaba and Jingdong going to online food delivery? What do you think? Because of the data. Data is habit. That's our topic today. So we have a panelist today to share with us how do you turn the data into insights. So let's give our panelists a round of applause again. Okay, to start the whole panel, can I just throw the first question to Ashutosh? How can organizations leverage the power of data to derive tangible and intangible business value?
Okay, thanks for asking that, Faith. So one question again for you, everyone audience. I think we are going to make it a very inclusive panel discussion. What is the lowest memory device you have used in your life? Cash. No, lowest memory device. Yeah, and what was the size of that? 1.44 MB. Right? Now from that we are in a situation today where we are talking in petabytes, and now we are saying that even petabytes is going to be very less for us, right? It's like your wife asking for upgrading your lifestyle, right? Pehle 2 BHK lo, then take a 3 BHK, then take a 4 BHK, right? That is what is happening in the data world today. So from a zone of data, I would say data scarcity, maybe 20, 25 years back, we are in a zone of data flooding. I mean, we have lots of data today, but the bigger problem is not having data today. The bigger problem is we are not able to leverage it properly. And as the question what you asked, right, tangible and intangible element. I think we all have heard this term, data is the new oil. And so when we buy oil, right, when any country buys oil, can they directly use that oil as it in our cars and in our vehicles? No, it has to go through a refinery process. Similarly, I believe that any data what you have, it has to go through a data refinery process. And what do I mean by data refinery is that just like oil, when it goes through a data refinery process, it comes in various grades. You get a petrol, you get a naphtha. I mean, sorry for using some chemical language terms here, but I'm trying to make it a little easier for all of us to understand. Like it goes through a diesel, all those elements come out. Similarly, coming to your question, right? I mean, when you put a data through a refinery, you'll get a lot of tangible insights into it, right? And I'm sure our panelists will talk about it. You'll come to know what that data is trying to tell. Every data has got a story to it. I always believe into it. Plus, the data will also give you some key elements related to intangible elements, right? Like what is the source of the data? Or is the source authentic? Can we trust this data? Can we rely on this data? So yes, there are parameters related to the business outcomes which this data is trying to tell, that how many vehicles I have sold into a more often. So it's more about outcome also over an output driven model which is there. So today during lunch break, I think during coffee break, we were discussing one very important thing. I don't know if the people are here around. I'm sure they are there. What they were saying was that, today we always talk about data in terms of good things. We always report good things to our management. Why don't we start reporting some wrong things, right? What is not working in our project? And I gave an example of Rahul Bajaj to them. Rahul Bajaj, I think you know, right? I mean, the pioneer of Bajaj Auto. I remember I used to work in Bajaj Auto earlier in my earlier part of my career. The first question he used to ask was, don't tell me which unit has sold the largest number of scooters. Tell me which unit has got the maximum number of problems with the scooter. So I think that is the equation we have to change from tangible, right? Not reporting good, but start with reporting also what is bad. I think the watermelon has to be really reversed. From green, it has to actually report red first. Yeah, so coming to tangible, these are the tangible elements. Intangible elements would be, as I said, the data access, the data trust, the data reliability. I would say those would be the intangible elements around it.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Yeah, I like the phrase, data is a new oil. Now, actually from over to Vivek, how about public sector? How are they using data and AI for data-driven decisions?
Sure. Hi, am I audible? Hey. Okay, so just to introduce everyone about myself. So I work with public sector since last 2 years and have been working with some of the key ministries of India. And what I've seen is that the AI has disrupted, and it is in the process of disruption even in public sector today. We always think that public sector always come in the end, and enterprises and startup adopt first. But I see there is a huge push in the public sectors, especially at the some of the examples which were quoted by the previous panelist, which was Mr. Commander Suman, right? that Pradhan Mantri spoke at the Davos, same way he's also pushing all the ministries to adopt AI first, right? So some of the key examples I'll tell you about. There is a scheme called Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which I'm sure many people might have heard. It is for rural people. It impacts close to 20 to 25 crore people in India. And it is very difficult to figure out who is the right citizen to be given that particular benefit, right? And over a period of time, there have been quite a few frauds. A lot of people who are not even eligible, they got those funding as a benefit. But we are building human AI avatars for doing the right surveys, who are interacting with the end user and figuring out how they can get leverage to that particular scheme and what would be the right process that they should follow. Because always there are middlemen in the government who are always trying to put bias and manipulating the situations. But with AI, it is with no bias. It is giving the right feedback, right information to the citizen, and then figuring out what is the right amount that they should receive as a benefit, right? So this is one of the use case. Then I'm also working very closely with the Aviation Ministry, where I see that some of the key solutions are already implemented, which you might not have already noticed, but whenever you go to T1, T2, or T3 airports, the solutions are already implemented where they are checking your behaviors. They are seeing if you are circling around in the airport, whether you are adhering to the uniform dresses or not, whether the staff is present at the right place, right? So those kind of use cases are already in place, and the video surveillance is happening even at the runway, and in and around runway, they are doing live surveillance to figure out if there is any animal coming in between, right? So looking at all of that, you would see very soon, pretty much all the ministries will be implementing AI in most of their use cases. So that's some of the view from my side. Obviously, if you would like to chat about what other ministries are doing, I'm happy to discuss. I'm also working very closely with Ministry of Defense. So happy to connect with you all.
Yeah,
Please.
thank you, Vivek, for giving very powerful examples. Actually, a lot of people think that the government always very late. Actually, government is also very advanced. As you can see, data is very important because it will determine the allocation, resource allocation, because that will guide the government and also the corporate how they can channel resources to making impact. That's why we get Yashi to share with us over to private sector. How can companies balance cost optimization with innovation while migrating analytics workloads from legacy platform to the cloud?
Hello, am I audible? Yeah. Thanks, Faith, for the question. So when it comes to cost, it's not about adoption of cloud and AI can always lead to cost benefits. Sometimes it can always lead to loss in terms of cost. For example, a decade before, there was a company called Dropbox. It adopted its framework to cloud, and then it finally repatriated its framework back to on-prem because they could not manage the cost. The reasons were lack of skill set and lack of proper strategy they adopted. So this is where proper strategy comes into place. And this comes with the adoption, with the right adoption of framework and a right set of planning, which is done initially. Now, with the advent of data and AI tools, those are really helpful in getting those insights and getting into a proper strategy. To name a few, we are recently using Amazon Bedrock and AI SageMaker to solve a lot of problems. For example, AI SageMaker is one AI tool which trains models and helps design proper solutions for cloud-native approaches and cloud-native projects. So the right set of approach is very important in order to get into the right, fit into the customer's requirement in the most appropriate way. If not, it can lead to disaster, which otherwise we consider as an innovation. So this is something which, since I've closely worked with a lot of clients, including some government clients and legacy platforms like banks, mostly banking clients, where they are migrating mainframe projects to cloud. So in those scenarios, sometimes all these factors are overlooked. So this is something which has to be taken care of. This is the way we can balance cost with optimization while migrating legacy data to cloud and adopting AI tools with that.
Thank you, Yashi. As you can see, we are actually moving into the realm of predictive analytics. For example, if you're consuming something yesterday, would you continue to have the same consumption pattern in the future? That's why, over to you, Sonia. How is AI shifting decision-making from a data-driven approach to action-oriented, whereby the system not only analyze, but recommend action course?
Okay, a quick show of hands. How many of you have stood at a red signal and looked, the signal is red, okay? These are some of, at least the Indian signals where it's only the color, nothing else. I'm not giving out the hint. So you just look at it and wait for it to turn amber. That's one scenario. And then there's another one where you have those signals with the numbers that go countdown. And how many of you all are more comfortable with the one which has the countdown? Show of hands. Why? You know, I mean, you can decide whether I play the music or no, I yell at my kids or no, do I drink that water or no, or do I jump the signal or no? So we can at least take a decision based on the numbers out there. With the one that's red, you are just staring. You don't know what to do with it. There's no so what. And when you talk about data enabled, so there's a new term that we hear, or at least we feel when we talk to clients, right? Data overload, but decision underwhelm. So who are we building all those data reports, dashboards, all the lovely looking designer reports for? People who are not tech savvy most of the times. The ones who are working on media, campaign, marketing, all of those guys, and they don't want the bother of click here, go there, drill down, filter, cut, slice, drill. That is what is going wrong. So I think now we are at a stage with, including AI, we can just tell them, like you said, I just love the inverted watermelon. What is wrong? Start there. You do not need to do anything else. Your numbers, these 4 numbers are in the red because of this, showing that. Hence, do that. That's it. And that is the era that we are going towards. And actually, we are in.
Yeah, we are already in. Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, that's right. So it's not just data, but insights. So over to you, Vivek. How can an organization with legacy data can use today's technology to bring insights from data?
Sure. So, with the old enterprises, the legacy data pretty much was sitting on the databases like Oracle DB or Informix or MySQL or any other open source product, right? One of the key challenge was what to do with this data. How do we make sense out of this data, right? And many times the data is not even validated, not curated for the purpose it is created for, right? And when the leadership comes and asks questions about what do I make out of this data, they don't really know, right? So with cloud coming, as Yashi was giving an example, it has completely transformed the play, right? Now there are entire data modernization strategies where you first ingest the data, which is coming real time, and at the same time you have your ETL pipelines going on, which are validating your data. Whatever data is not correct, just pushing it back to the right scheme holders or whosoever is collecting that data, and making them fix that data at their end. Once those ETL pipelines sitting in the medallion architecture where you have bronze layer, silver layer, and gold layer. Your gold layer is your actually gold data, which is completely validated, curated, ensured that it is following all the business rules, right? And then creating insights on top of it. Those insights are very, very valuable, right? So this entire architecture has to be developed and implemented on the legacy data if you want to continue to, get right insights and then take actions on top of it. But with cloud, it is extremely easy and powerful.
Okay, great, Vivek. Yeah, actually, true enough, we just had a management meeting and we wanted to take some strategies, and we realized, the term GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Right? Then we realized a lot of sales engineers, they cut corners, so when they click, then we give us the wrong set of data, so we couldn't decide, is this the right segment or is this the right industry? So I said, okay, clean up the data. Like exactly like what Vivek said. We have to clean up, then we can going back, right? Okay, over to you, Sonia. Now, what are the biggest barriers to embedding AI into operational decision workflow, such as culture, data, readiness, talent, regulatory? The barriers.
The barriers. In fact, I think there are layers of barriers. So, how many of you all have read the McKinsey's latest report like yesterday? Everybody's going, ah. Anyone? The front benchers can't answer. Come on, that was so big thing. I mean, the AI boom is going, especially Palki Sharma. If anyone follows Palki Sharma.
I got that on my last slide.
Yeah?
Oh, you got it. Oh.
Yeah, I almost cried when I saw Palki's coverage, but yes. 95% of AI is not affecting the PNL.
Yes.
Imagine all the folks who have budget strings. See, there are naysayers, there are believers, there are reporters shouting about it. But think of a company who's not yet opened up for AI, sees this report, and the person who's responsible, who was about to place or sign that check, he is going to think 3 times now after yesterday. So that's the first barrier. Second barrier is cultural. So when AI is, and we spoke about it, I think the earlier panel spoke about it, AI can recommend, and it can give you brilliant recommendations. But you're having a person who has spent 30 years, 20 years of his life doing those recommendations, now staring at the screen where AI has recommended to do something. Who should he listen to? His instinct or what AI is telling him to do? And what if he doesn't listen to it? What happens inside the organization? The friction, the insecurity that happens. That's the second thing. Third thing, organizationally, we are all, I think most of the big organizations are set up to work in a way that was built for some years back. Over the last 2 years, work has changed, especially with AI. The way things are working, roles have changed. But now, fitting it into the old models of this team, this leader, it is not easy now. So if I have to quickly get an AI project off the shelf, I need a data guy, I need a DevOps guy, I need someone who is an ML person whom we can retool and get the project out. But is it that easy to put these together? And someone spoke, right? Now development is happening in 3 weeks. We'll take 5 weeks getting these guys out. Forget about developing something in 3 weeks. I mean, we are not set up organizationally to develop that fast. How much ever we think AI is going to take away everybody's jobs. It's not happening that fast. And then, of course, there are like that, we spoke about cultural, we spoke about this talent. How many AI engineers actually exist? Don't talk about resumes, but actually exist, who can actually deploy a code on the cloud. Everybody can build, because today LinkedIn is filled with tutorials. We live in a golden age where it is easiest to learn. But how many people actually can build something that will give the right answer to the client and not a cuss word in middle of a demo? And lastly, it's also everything about the faith, right? I mean, regulatory organizations within clients are not going to let AI just walk in the door and change everything in productivity and go. It is so difficult to get legal clearance for an AI. In fact, our company has a .ai, and it is so difficult to get those conversations started because there's a .ai in our domain name. So yeah, lots of barriers there.
Yeah, the real world is very different from our ideal world. Yeah, over to you, Yashi. As global organizations embed AI and ML into cloud strategies on AWS, what are the overall risks and trade-off, spanning security, ethics, costs, and governance? They must be managed to balance innovation with responsibility.
Yes, thanks, Fang, for this question. So I think already addressed in the cybersecurity panel, with the advancement of all these AI technologies, cloud innovations, definitely there is a rapid increase in the cyber threats, in the digital threats, for which we have to really take care of. We have to adhere to the government's compliance very, very strictly. And we have to implement all our policies in a very strict way. Talking about policies, I mean from cloud perspective, IAM policies, which allows or denies a particular service to individual users or to a group of users or not. Otherwise, even a simple mistake, as already mentioned previously, like a missing of MFA can lead to real disasters within organizations, within projects. So this cost factor and security factor is really very, very crucial. And if not taken care of, it can lead to disaster. So with the advancement of all those AI tools, all those AI services, it is really very, very crucial to get into the right set of framework, right set of policies right from the beginning, and working closely with the stakeholder requirements, understanding, and before jumping into a solution. The problem is with the tools and all, people try to develop codes in one way, and they are hardly able to comprehend it. And that leads to problems later on. So a clear amount of understanding, evaluating all the risk in the initial level is really very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Yashi. Yeah, I was in another conference. It was saying that, you know, those who are designing the policy for AI, right, they themselves do not actually comprehend what's going on in AI. It's like, yeah, it's a loose cannon. Today you design a policy, and tomorrow it's changing. So that's I want to talk to Ashutosh. How about, you know, considering a large availability of data across all the institutions in India, so much data, right? So is there a need to design an Indian-centric, contextualized, data-driven approach so that we, you know, to handle geopolitical, you know, regional, sector-based security, regulatory, all these issues? What do you think?
Okay, now that's a very tricky question to answer this. Now let me ask a very simple question to everyone. Has any of you studied in 2 or 3 states, maybe +2 in one state or in India, graduation in another state and post-graduation in another state? Has your name remained the same across all the 3 places? I think this is the biggest problem we have. Same thing happened with me. Ashutosh Bhatawadekar +2 CBSE, Ashutosh Kusmakar Bhatawadekar BE Civil. I have to prove so many times that it is the same person, right? So what I'm trying to tell here is India is a very, very paradoxical land, right? I mean, the rules change here from city to city. Forget we talking about states here. I mean, I just highlighted a problem of states here. So obviously the model has to be something which has to be more responsive, something which has to be more empathetic to the needs of India. So to your question, do we need an India-specific model? The simple answer is yes. We do need something, a model which is more empathetic, a model which understands these nuances which are there. Because as I said, right, I mean, it's very difficult to find out whether it's the same person which is across all these layers. So what I always feel is that we all studied mathematics 10th standard, integration and differentiation. Yeah, I hope you remember that, right? Okay, it's not a test of mathematics, but that is what works in India. While we are differentiating across the states, there's one integration what we need. We need one integration, and I think that's where AI will play as a big enabler there. In fact, I had a question to the earlier panel. While we were talking about a digital divide, there's also something called as a demographic divide in India. I mean, if you see, we have houses where there are 3 generations now there who are actually consumers of AI. But each one of them requires a different kind of a product which is there. So because of, thanks to the health initiatives, I think the life expectancy has gone very much high in India. So we'll have a 86-year-old person also, a 50-year-old person, maybe a 20-year-old girl, and even a small kid in the house. So definitely, I think the model has to be something which has to cater to these needs, something which is India-specific. And of course, needless to say, the security part of it, the data should reside in India. I think there was some initiative, I think Vivek can tell it better. A few years back, there was an initiative that the data does not go out of the country. The data remains stored in servers located within India. I think there were a lot of those initiatives which the government was running. So yes, to put the long story short, I do feel that there is a contextual model which is needed for the Indian ecosystem, considering some of the challenges which I've highlighted.
Yeah, that's a wonderful insight. You are not alone in this, you know. Indonesia, we have actually one person. He's born in Jakarta, study in Manado, and then work in Medan. So when he went to overseas, like Malaysia, for treatment, we rejected the passport because we thought it's a different, and the people got very confused because it was just not synced. Yeah, precisely the data that we are having right now. It's just too many states and they are not synced and they are not talking to each other. Yeah, we have some time for Q&A. I mean, thank you for wonderful panels. I will ask you one more question. Aha moment. Anybody want to ask questions? I give you more time.
Traditionally, here is the first
so
one.
Fast. Oh, okay.
It's again not a question, but I just wanted to clarify what we were just thinking in interest of everybody hearing. Sonia, you made a very good point, right? The question, in fact, was also very good, Faith, that you asked. Why, this AI stuff is actually failing. I don't know how many of you are aware, when digital transformation started way back in early, you talk about 2006, 7, 8, 9, right? Nobody had any idea about what we were talking about, right? And even today, digital transformation, almost 75% to 80% of them fail. You know why they fail? And that is also true for AI implementation as well. That we do not understand what is, again, as I've said at the past as well, we do not understand what is my entire business, how do I run my business, right? What are the different touch points, internal, external, right? Touch points that have to be addressed in my entire ecosystem, and where the tool has to come in and solve the purpose, right? That's the reason it fails. Another important thing, we can quickly read articles and get super happy, hey, AI is a bubble and it will fail. You know what Sam Altman said a couple of days ago, and that's how this bubble conversation started. He himself said it's a bubble, but his intent of saying bubble was different. He said this is something that's going to get democratized, right? It will become normal and everybody will be using it, right? So it will not be a very big thing that we talk about. AI also right now is failing because we're completely misunderstanding what that means, right? What is happening, almost everybody is doing a silo function of AI R&D. When you end up doing a lot of silos, you will have a lot of cost getting incurred. You have duplications, right? And you don't have the ROI that you are actually talking about. Hence, it will not be the case a CEO, CTO, CMO will think twice before investing into AI. They really want to, but they say, okay, tell me at what point it will come in and how it will solve for me, right? Last statement, 30 seconds. A lot of organizations, and I was surprised to even hear, educational institutes are actually doing consulting exercise, right, of actually doing this AI implementation for the bigger organizations. So with that, I'll pause.
Thank you. Do we have time for one question? Or just one last question?
Yeah, so sorry the front benchers are getting. I just happen to sit here, not on a front bench anyway. Now to the question. Pardon me for being a bit blunt. I get to answer this a lot. Today I want to hear from you. Whose data, which data? Why am I saying that? From where it comes from? If the agents are consuming data and not human, and you're not automation but autonomous, data-driven decisions turning insights into action, ... For whom? And how are you ready for that?
Any takers?
Did I hear it right? Whose data?
Data for whom? When you're turning insights into action, and actions are being done by agents, AI agents, how does this paradigm of data preparedness change? How do you see that?
So it's simple. When humans need to take a decision, and if it is not in a table format, he can at least copy paste it into a table and then take his decision. But an agent, if he doesn't see the table, he won't take a decision. It's as simple as that. So when we are, like you said, garbage in, garbage out, if you don't give the data to the agent in a language or structure
understandable,
that he understands, And that's where most of the POCs go on forever because of this, is the data is not prepared for agents first. And unless and until it's prepared for the agent to understand in his language, there's no decision coming. That's the first thing. And if you do have autonomous agents who are not seeking approval, but just doing things, I hope and pray it is for low risk, high volume decisions. But, and if that is happening and if the agent is able to take the decision, I think I can safely say, and I think all of us can safely say the data is structured well, which is why he's able to do what he's doing, whoever that agent is, he, she. But if it is, and for whom it is, whatever a human has been doing today for the end clients is what the agent will replicate, do fast, do it himself, whatever. But I mean, the most of the decisions or most of the discussions of AI are still around productivity. It is not, most of it, I mean, most of the companies are ready to touch and experiment where productivity is there. There's a lot of fear in releasing it in front of client-facing outcomes, because then they're responsible for the agent has done, and then there's a high chance of being sued. So this is a more safe space to be in, at least. So I think that's the answer. So if you're saying whose data, it is whatever data they've always been using for the business, and decisions for whom? Decisions for the client.
I think this will call for a long discussion. So many points. I'm not agreeing. I'm not agreeing to it.
Actually, the only word I wanted to put in was contextual data. Put context to data. So if you put context to data, because agents needs metadata, not data anymore.
Correct. Yeah. Contextual data.
Let's stop using Google also.
Yes.
So yeah, to your point, to your point, I think what you made a very valid point. People are using these tools more like a Google search than what they should be using, and I think we can discuss it in the coffee break. I know. 1 year I've been using that, I don't do Google anymore. Which is a wrong way, I think. I mean, it's like using a product for something. No. Okay.
Yeah, I get what I really want, and ChatGPT and other tools give me exactly the way I need.
You can use DeepSeek. They're improvising the version.
But again, to the point of contextual, it will give you your exact answer provided you ask the question correctly. Exactly. And if in Google you can figure out, no, this doesn't make sense. I'll go here.
AI is always meant for intelligent people. You need to know your craft.
Never-ending discussion.
Okay.
It's a never-ending discussion.
Intelligent.
Okay.
It has to be reversed. Okay, thank you.
Let's have
for a very engaging session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the
Can we
so
have
much.
a big round of applause for all the speakers and our moderator, Tang, joining from Singapore. So requesting all the speakers to come forward for the group photograph. So a big round of applause for the wonderful speakers.